I guess I can do a little overview of what I think about the patch notes, as long as I don't get a game. So the quick and dirty about my patch notes. So his secondary attack, the shotgun version of it, is increased by 10%, but his ult increase was increased by 15%. So technically a little bit of a nerf there, but the problem with Genji is you can't increase his damage because he can right-click and then melee, and it would insta-kill some people if you got all the headshots. Right now, it leaves you at, I think it's 5 health or 4 health. It's very low, but essentially, if you right-click and dash, you'll always kill someone if it's all headshots. So that's why Genji's in this really weird spot that you can't make him do more damage. So what can you do? Do you make him like, maybe you could make him do more damage, but like make his attack spread out even farther. He's in a really weird spot, and I do believe that the only area you can easily change him, and he may be, greatly change in Overwatch 2, is his attack speed. That's like the only place you can really buff him without some kind of, I don't want to say rework, but a lot of other changes. I mean, this is fine. I don't mind his primary getting buffed and his ult getting nerfed, but I do think his ult needs to be nerfed even harder. I would say another 10%, because it is, at least on the ladder, debilitating. It's very easy to pull off, and it's just immensely strong. There's very little interactions it has with anything, just because either you ult or you die, which I don't like. Ultimates, in my mind, they should be like basically countered by most things in the game. But that's my personal feeling. I don't like ultimates that much in the game. Mei's buff, sure, whatever. Her ult or her healing goes up to 200 total healing. Sure, that's great. Not a big deal. Pharah's is a little bit interesting because the way it's worded, it says that it's the intent for Pharah's jet fuel adjustments to find a balance which enables her to maintain an altitude reasonably well with careful fuel and cooldown management. And that would necessitate this buff, what they've just worded here. But not so easily climb to the extreme heights some map ceilings allow, as it can lead to less interactive gameplay. Which makes me think, hey, there was supposed to be something else here that got taken away, but there is no reason to put the second sentence in. So I want to say that this used to accompany a nerf, or maybe this buff was bigger and then it came with a nerf and they just lowered the buff. This is weird. I think there's more coming for Pharah. But I think Pharah's just getting downed right now because hit scans are so dominant and Echo's just better. Reaper got more damage, sure. Everyone thought his change with his spread was going to be overpowered. It wasn't. In fact, they even nerfed it more when they nerfed his damage from 120 to 110. This takes it back from 110 to 120. When they first did the change, pretty quickly everyone saw that it was a more than a nerf than a buff. Sigma, sure. I get it. They went from 1 second to 2 second cooldown, and while I don't hate that, like I think that was from 1 second to 2.5 second, and I get people felt that was too much too quickly. But a change is a change, and even if it had to go up to 5 seconds, if it was the right decision, it's the right decision. But I think they decided, all right, it may have been a little bit too strong of a nerf, so they just lowered it back down 0.5 seconds, which means the overall nerf from Sigma we're used to is from 1 second to 2 seconds, which is still reasonable. I don't see this making a huge change, but it still is like a bit of it's still something. It gives a lot of the Sigma haters, something to be like, oh, maybe Sigma's a little more usable now, which he still is usable. He's still great. Don't really think about this at all. And Zarya's change is from 1.6 energy drain a second to 1.8. It's an increase of 12% energy drain. And this is actually what I said should be changed with Zarya, is that her shield should be a little bit faster cooldown, defend a little bit more, or defend a little bit less, so like take them down to like 120 damage they absorb before breaking, but then increase the amount of charge. So she gets 50 charge from each bubble, and they break easier, so she has high charge more of the time, but like increase her energy drain rate to 5 seconds, and that would turn her into this churn and burn character where it's more about using her shields now and getting advantages with it now rather than just get them and then sit on it. I would actually like to see this up to 2.5. I think Zarya is just way, way, way too strong for a tank, and I get we don't want to make tanks feel like shit, but when she outputs DPS levels of damage with a tank HP pool and tank damage mitigation, then we're starting to have some issues. So I think overall, everything seems to be in the right direction. The Zarya nerf's in the right direction. Sigma buff, sure, it doesn't change him that much, but the idea is not to make characters useless, it's just to make them balanced. So I have no problem buffing him a little bit if that's what's needed. Is that what's needed? Sigma's an interesting case because he has a lot of everything. But it's not a bad place for him to be at. Reaper definitely needed something, so this buff I feel is warranted. Pharah, I think the true issue with Pharah is that hit scans are just too strong. I get it, this makes Pharah do what she's supposed to do a little bit better, and I'm fine with that. But I would look at hit scan being quite ridiculous in Overwatch right now. Mei, doesn't really matter. Sure. Genji, anything making him less of an ult bot, I'm all for. But I think his ultimate is just too strong in general. I think his Dragon Blade damage needs to be nerfed down to like 80. Make it swing quicker and maybe even make the duration of it longer. But, you know, it's hard to buff his kit at where he's at right now. Like I said previously, if you give him any more damage, he can start one-shotting people quite easily. And that's kind of all he has in his kits, is, you know, left and right click. His dash is really strong. Everything in his kit is really strong. The only thing that he really lacks is DPS, like consistent DPS. Essentially, he has some of the worst DPS in the game. I think he's like one of the bottom 3 or 4 damage heroes, like if you don't count headshots, but just raw DPS. But if you increase his damage, that makes him a little bit broken that way. So the only way to really do anything to his damage would be like clip size, reload speed, or attack speed. And I think this is as slow as you would, or as fast as you ever want his attack to be. I wouldn't mind if his primary attack got buffed a little bit, but it seems like for a character that everyone says is skillful, they keep buffing him in ways that just say, hey, spam more. Yeah, it's something. It's something. And I get maybe they're trying to get Genji in the game more to deal with hit scans, but the real way, Blizzard has to stop doing this 500 IQ shit, where they do something random and hoping like the trail, the snowball effect actually nerfs what's the problem right now. What they need to do is just nerf hit scan. That's what they need. So that's my quick little wrap up. I'll put this on YouTube. And well, let's go back to the game.